So I washed and curled my hair again. So when I first did it, yesterday I did it with the or this morning. That other video was the middle of the night, so I still have some talking to get out for the day. So what I wanted to say was, so I washed my hair with baking soda, and then I rinsed that out, and then I was so stopped up, I can't even tell you. I could barely breathe. I don't know what they're hitting us with, man. It sucks. I have a stomach flu again, and totally stopped up. I can't breathe. So anyways, and Stella, oh man, and she keeps doing this weird thing, like this one eye. That's the side of her face that was really droopy. So that side was when it was that she had the stroke or whatever. Oh, I wanted to do another thing about my hair too. So I saw, it's hard to see because it's so white, but a whole bunch of new hair growth is coming in again. So there's a whole bunch of white hair coming in right here. And I've just been doing that rosemary extract, trying to get off the chemicals. But one thing with the apple cider vinegar, I can see why people with curly hair love it, because, you know, it gives shape to curls. But when it's just straight, it still has this like sheen. I think I just got to get used to it. I think it's probably what our hair is supposed to look like, you know, and I think the chemicals have done things to our hair, but with the chemicals, it's like what we're used to. So it's like we're getting used to, if like, you know, as is wet hair, because it does make it really shiny and really soft and more manageable. This morning there was more tangles though, but I had used that baking soda too. So anyways, I'm still recommending. I like it better so far than the soap bar things. Like none of the stuff has gotten it clean. And even when I did use shampoo, I think once or twice over the past 30 days before I started doing the vinegar, and it didn't. I mean, it made it nice for that one day, but it didn't extend the life of it any longer. And then I've been using those dry shampoos, and so I don't know. I don't know, especially if cornstarch works. Just get cornstarch. I don't know. Or does that just start growing some kind of bread in your hair or something? So, anyways, that's the update on there. And I still been taking the biotin, but even when I was taking the biotin, and using the soap bar, there was a certain point a couple months ago where my hair just started falling out extreme. Like, because when I was knitting, it was just everywhere. It just keeps being in everything. Like, oh, talk about pulling hair out of your mouth that just turns your stomach like, okay, I can't eat. And you can't see good, so you don't even know it's there until you're pulling it out of your mouth. So anyways, but Stella has that on that side that was drooping. She's doing like this with her eye. It's like this one's open normal, and then this one's like, it's just like it's strained. So I keep trying to think. I mean, ever since they said that about the brain tumor, I keep trying to think of different things. Like, could she get something like in her sinus? Could she get something deep in her ear? But see, the droops start getting better. So is it getting better? Or, you know, when they spray, does it make things worse or something? I don't know. But she is sleeping right now. So a little while ago, you know, after I had finished recording, I think around 4:30, I don't know, maybe, I have no idea. No, it was 7. So it was like a 7. I laid down on the couch because she was snoozing. So I laid down on the couch, and she lifted up and she looked at me, and she didn't start crying, because usually that's her trigger. Oh, you laid down. That's the end of that. You know, she's got to get up and make sure I get up and start panicking. And so I laid down on the couch and went to sleep. And that's when I woke up. I was totally stopped up. But I went to sleep for like an hour and a half. I still feel like I could just keep sleeping, but I woke up and just started coughing. Like, I don't know. I think it's that hiatal hernia. That's the whole problem with my voice, Why? Because it damaged my vocal cords for all the acid in my stomach. It goes up and, but whatever this hiatal hernia thing, this floppy esophagus syndrome situation, that it's why people get like GERD and reflux and stuff. It's from that sphincter in their esophagus is too loose, and so that's what mine is. And so that's one reason, like if you're laying down flat and you start waking up choking and coughing, that I don't know, it was wobbly or wiggly or something, but the acid starts going in the wrong place or something and starts, I don't know, it tickles the area, I don't know, but I just woke up having a total cough fit, and I could feel right where. And so I was just coughing and coughing and coughing. So then I just got up. I could have just gone back to sleep, but me coughing like crazy. And then that woke her up. So I was like, okay, God, wake up again. It was like, oh my God, is it even worse to go to sleep if you have to keep trying to wake up? Like, oh my God, this is rough stuff. And, but I swear, I do think, things are changing, even though it's so slow. Like, I know that we'll all start seeing bigger changes, but like for some of us, it's just slow going, man. Like it's so slow going. Yeah, I can't, I just have to stay, with hope and stuff, and just keep thinking, that this is temporary. I'm not going to be here all winter. I'm not going to go through another winter of this. Like, oh my God. I was even thinking, especially if I start running out of wood, or if there is a certain time where the pass is open, because they've already got weather systems going on the passes, which traps you over here anyways if you don't have. I have a Volvo station wagon that's all-wheel drive, but I don't have four-wheel drive. You have to have four-wheel drive or have chains. So I could, I got desperate, go buy chains, figure out how to put them on. Probably I could just pull up anywhere up there and somebody would help me put them on. But I don't know. If I get desperate enough, I may just do that. Like if this whole winter just keeps dragging, I'll just go and stay at my mom's or something. Like, oh my God, especially like this is November and they're just hitting, just nonstop hitting with the weather system after weather system. Like, oh my gosh, surely they're going to be taken down any day. I swear to God. And especially that gives me so much hope. That whole FBI in that whole neighborhood, that to me really makes me feel like, there's so much stuff going on. And who knows, like, is that neighborhood, is that going to be the announcement that is the big thing that wakes everybody up? They're going to go in here and just find tons of mass ones. I mean, you can see the tunnels things. And, who knows when they're looking at the thing, how this map plays out. Because then they have the history of who lived there. Like, I'm sure this is a whole investigation. It's not just like, oh, we just happened to find, we're just so concerned. We just happen to find these moonshine tunnels, this moonshining back, we got to go through all these different houses. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we think there's a mass grave here. We think there's a mass grave, like, okay. But people like that guy he is talking about, he had no clue, not so whatsoever. Like everything was totally from his heart, where he's sitting there saying, yeah, I think, Jimmy Hoffa disappeared around here. I think that's probably, that's probably what they're looking for and stuff. And it has to do with the moonshine and everything. And, but Hoffa had to do with the unions. And, all those gangster people, in anything you start getting into, obviously, real estate, developing, medical, it's all espionage, it's all criminal activity. Every single person who moves to the top has got that instinct to just be corrupt and criminal. That's why I said, like, they know who to move through, who to put in what positions. There's a reason why it is the way it is and how it becomes the way it is. And it's just so crazy to really understand the extent of their capabilities and their plans. Like, I mean, when we talk about world domination, and they're putting it into a plan, into effect or whatever. So, But they're definitely, like, I did look a little bit on there. I had some more stuff I wanted to go look, but it does become so repetitive. Like, these people just keep saying the same things over and over. Like, the awakening, it is so tedious. But, they gotta awaken to all this stuff. But people just sitting there like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. How are they cheating? I don't get it. I just can't even believe, like, you really thought that was a one-time thing. Seriously, that is it. You thought that was the only time in your whole life that ever happened. It does really stay really curly for a while, but then when it gets to just like loose, it stays really long if you didn't have to wash it. But it just starts getting like, I don't know, it's just different. Just try it and then you'll see what I mean. If we all just start doing it and all of our hair's like this, then that'd be the new thing. Everybody's hair would just be this sheeny oil stuff, unless that's the oil slick out of the water, and then they're gonna remove that. I don't know. Something's gonna go on, and now I keep thinking, is this gonna be a big, huge, dramatic thing? Is this gonna be, everything in that one video of that earthquake? I think it was in New Guinea. The footage of that is it's like surreal. It's so creepy. But, and like, it was like a action movie or something where it's all cracking and everything is splitting and going apart, and the people are having to like jump onto this other street as it's cracking and falling. They're jumping on this one. It is crazy looking when you see that footage. And that to me is like, oh my God, is that about what's about to happen? Everything's going to start splitting. We're going to have the sky opening up above us. Like, it's going to be intense, but that's what we're here for. So, it is very much about where fear feeds best is the future. Because if you do start really, start thinking about like what's going to happen. And then you're setting expectation, you're setting like a protocol instead of just relaxing and allowing it to see, because you can manifest something worse by just putting that energy out there of like what you fear is going to happen. And then you start creating that to happen. So I think it's so important to stay positive no matter, what they do, even if we're all just a bunch of crazies, we're all sitting there saying, Papa Smurf is the king of the world, then we should be able to focus on that. We shouldn't have to, that should be our gift of life, that we, Papa Smurf is our savior and we're good with that and everybody's happy as long as Papa Smurf's okay. So everybody's allowed that in their lives, not everybody has to be at whatever level, and nobody even knows what level is what was up and what is down. Everything is just a twisted dance of experience. It's just all experience just going on everywhere. And it is, I don't know, it's just so crazy because how, I'm always seeing like the micro, that is something that they have pushed on me and pushed on me and pushed on me on this, the micro and macro, and this whole thing of how it all goes together. Like it starts at this one level and just all branches out and becomes more. It's such a progression, and that is also the progression of souls, the progression of humanity, everything. And that's why I talk about how the generations, how it all just flows together. Like I can see how everything is, and you think about that, it's like a river. We become like an energetic river. And to us, we're here thinking this and doing this and experiencing this and living this and stuff. But from further away, it is a river of color and movement and energy, and some of the energy is happy and on the top and, playful and reaching out to touch the air. And other energy is in the bottom, is in the darkness and, kind of overwhelmed, and it's got a lot of weight on them. And then other ones are exposed on the sides and, hitting into the rocks and feeling kind of battered. So it totally is like everything. When I say micro, macro, that's what I'm always talking about. It's like something how they show me, and I don't know how else to say it, but everything is a progression of everything. Everything is spreading out. Like if you spill a glass of water, how it starts to spread, that is the energy of the universe. It is like that. And that is the movement of us. And we're creating the energy. We're creating the movement of the river by the experience and the energy that we come up with, that, how we're looking at it. Are we, enjoying the ride? Are we being playful? Are we trying to feel the air? Or are we trying to stay low and safe and stay hidden? And, so it's all a different thing, but it's all is our own. It is like the physicality represents, there's so much more that is represented in everything when you go in deeper, especially when you start looking from the spiritual perspective, because once you open up the spiritual perspective, everything becomes supernatural and magical. And so you just go inside. Now, see, I am seeing more people talk about like they're starting to get it, like they're not just in there creating thoughts, like you are receiving information. And in most cases, it is information to help you on your journey. But if you are vibing low and allowing any old Tom, Dick, or Harry to come in, then you can be being misdirected and misguided. And then you get an ego, like then that's a whole nother thing. And it's really easy to do, just like that spiritual girl was saying, how that entity was feeding her ego, and she she had to start seeing how it was becoming possessive, how it wanted more and more of her because it's feeding off of her. So that's why you don't want to start feeding these spirits, all the ones that are just hanging around. I keep it short and brief. Like, what do you want? And then it's always just like observing and watching and stuff like that. I think you can feel when one is harassing you, like in a aggressive kind of way. Like it was crystal clear to me when that one was trying to physically attack me. And they do it in your dream state, like as you're dozing off is when they'll attack you, because that is the realm that they can reach you. But it feels like a physical attack. In your mind, you're physically attacked. It's weird, but it's, and that is how so many people get into those trappings. It shows that so good in that show, Evil. I was talking about that before, how they were showing the that kind of thing with the demons, how they would come in and attack them, but it was always in their sleep. So once you could recognize that you had more control, because in your dreams you have more control, because it's magical. And that's what we're learning about this life. That's how we're going to start moving into being able to do like lucid dreaming in life, and being able to manifest right immediately and stuff like that. Because like in a lucid dream where you can do that. So once you know your abilities in the dream, see, I could have fought that guy back if I would have understood that. But I was really overwhelmed I could feel, it's so weird because you could feel the heat of him, his energy. I could feel his heat on top of me. I could feel sweat. And, you don't think about a ghost being sweaty, but I could feel it. In my head, I could see what he looked like. And he was round and baldish, and he was sweaty, and he was kind of because it kind of becomes they take on like a distorted kind of more of like what they were or something, and because he kind of looks like a creature, all like hunkered, like ugh, just but you could feel that energy, and you could feel how he stalked out all his girls in the house, and he would watch us. We all knew he was watching us from the vents. He would sit up there in the vents and watch you. It was so creepy. And he was just totally, but you could totally sense that. And I don't sense any of that kind of stuff, around here. And anytime, it always is just, I think that we're just so much merging or something into a more magical space. I don't know. So there's so many, entities and, people, or is whatever is about to happen is going to be so tragic that they're all there to help us not be confused and walk us to our next destination. I don't know. But, as the thing is, we don't want to go in and start feeding fear and start like, oh, that would be scary. So, oh my God, what if that did happen? And just start going deep into that and start planning it, building the blueprints and seeing it. That's what you don't want to do. Because I'm telling you, you do that stuff, you get it. Like I've seen that over and over in my life. You don't want to build the blueprint in your mind. You got to set it aside. And if you want to build a blueprint, you want to put in energy, go into something that you desire. And those desires are coming. You got to remember, just like I've been saying, those desires are coming from your future self, from your guides or whatever. Your desires are showing you your path. It's like they're preparing you all the time. And this became so clear. I mean, it's been part of my journey, is how they've done that. Like I didn't know that kind of stuff before. Like a lot, even though I was spiritual, it was very limited because there wasn't that much, it was either you believed in Jesus and we're going all full on that, or you were some other, Jewish or Christian, Catholic, Mormon. Like there was acceptable range in there. And even, they were divisive still. Each group would put down the other group, as I mean, I've heard Mormons called cults a million times. And so anyways, for spirituality, it was more when it was very first starting, like is what I've seen in my life, was just kind of pulling back of like, I don't believe God is mean. Like y'all keep trying to tell us God's mean and judgmental, but I don't believe that. That doesn't align with me. So, pulling back and then trying to understand, more about, I know my God is loving. I know what my God is telling me in my heart. I know what my God says. And then, it took a while to come to the realization that the bad thing, I mean, like if you think of God as a man or something, watching us the same as an adult who has got kids, who watches them go through pain. Like I think that the feelings are there. Like nobody wants to see anybody go through pain, but everybody knows pain is a part of growth. So you have to go through the pain. So there's a lot of pain that is allowed to play out here so people can grow. And so it isn't punishment. Although, it certainly can feel like punishment. Like this totally feels like punishment, is the way this just drags on with this sick dog and all this stuff. All this stuff just feels like, oh my God, what did I do in my past life? What did I do to, and I think that, I know the whole thing about the jewel thief, and since I'm still wearing the marks on my abdomen of, birthmarks. Oh, and that was another thing too, in that Virginia study of all those kids, the ones that were finding their dead, murdered bodies and stuff like that. They said that the fascinating thing is that when they would find the victim, the body, that wherever the wound was, that the kid that led him to the place had a birthmark that matched the wound that they died from. So, and I had heard that over and over and over. So, but for people who are doubting reincarnation and don't seem to understand the significance of it, that is, I think that's quite interesting. I think the Virginia study, but I was reading like Dr. Moody and stuff like that. So there was people to read back then, but it was a lot more limited of what people knew about reincarnation. And we were thought to be so crazy when we said you live over and over. Like people were like, hell no. What in the foolish bullshit are you sitting here trying to push on people? Be like, it just makes sense. Like, and they would be like, no, you just are here. You're just going to try and get to heaven, and that's it. That's it. And I'd be like, yeah, but that's eternity. So you get this one little shot for a second of eternity to hurry and get to your place at Jesus or God's feet. And then you're just happy sitting there for eternity. And, that always blew my mind. Like I was always like, I don't understand that. Don't you want something more, like, from your eternity, your eternal resting place? Than to sit at the feet of an egomaniac who needs billions and billions of people to sit and tell him he's beautiful and wonderful and he's the savior and sing to him for eternity. Yeah, that is, I don't, I just, I mean, when people would push that kind of thing, I would always be like, well, I think hell probably sounds better than that. Like, there's probably a little bit more action going on down in hell. I don't know about this ego guy who needs to be sung to for the rest of his eternal, all of us in there chiming in together. Seemed a little extreme. So, but that was back then, those were the kind of things to me that just I questioned all the time. And so the whole spiritual thing was just kind of like pulling free from the indoctrination, what is that called? Is it called dogma? In doctrine? Maybe that's what that doctrine. And so, anyways, you gotta pull free from that. But then it kind of develops anyways. Like inside of you, what you think will develop when you open up. And I mean, I don't think there's that many different things to think. I mean, you can perceive like we're in a computer, you can perceive like we're in a game, you can perceive like we're in a movie, you can perceive that, I mean, you can perceive that we're flesh and blood on a planet spinning out in space. Like whatever you perceive is what is real, is whatever's real in your mind is real to you. So that's all that really matters. It's what you are here to experience. Just like it has really become so clear to me that I'm putting my stuff on somebody else if I keep wanting them to wake up. If their experience is to stay asleep through this and to enjoy these last days while I'm sitting here stressing out about everything, like, they deserve that. I don't need everybody to sit on the couch biting their nails with me like, what's next? What's next? So I get why some people aren't awake yet. And I totally get, like, that's our ego and stuff to think like we need to do, we'll step in. God doesn't know what he's doing as usual. That's what they're always telling us. So we better hurry up and get in there and wake them up. That is, that's big ego to think like you have to save the whole fucking universe. You have to save every person on the planet. And it's all up to you. And so I really think that it is, it's all about each individual soul, because it is quite a challenge to go into such a dark place and remember who you are. When all the people are doing bad things, to remember who you are. Like I've said before, like I'd get myself into some situations and my guides would be like screaming in my ear, run, 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 get out of here. They're very much like, danger, Will Robinson, danger, danger. And so, but you have to have it turned on. Otherwise, I think people go into things and they're feeling kind of sick, they're feeling kind of stressed, they're feeling anxiety and all these different things that they're feeling because their soul is trying to communicate and they're not listening. And so, they're just got all of this. Oh, and the one guy, and this is what keeps happening right after I said, I wonder, I hadn't seen that guy in so long. And I walk out to my mailbox either later that day or the next morning. And he's standing out there with his dog. So he's been walking the other direction because probably Stella upsets him too much because she barks when he walks by. And how dare her? How dog of her. Like, keep your dog. Does your dog have to be so dog-like? Like, yeah, it's kind of. That's her right. That's her right. She came in. You got kids in school who want to be dogs, and they're treated better than some dogs that are born dogs. Like, let these dogs be dogs. Let them yell. Let them bark. Let them be free. There was some other thing I would think I was gonna say about the food or something. I had a bunch of things when I was saying that were coming into my head. But I swear the DC dig up thing, I'm just so excited about it. I want to know more. I want to hear more. I'm going to keep looking at that guy's videos and seeing. But I just don't think that this is making like national news or anything like that, that they're doing all of this digging up. And I mean, to me, it seems like such big news. Like if I was back a while ago before it was so clear that they were covering everything up, you would really expect this would be big, big story. You'd expect a whole freaking street lined with those news vans and stuff. And where are they? Why aren't they all there? So, but they're owned by the people who are trying to cover stuff up. So, as again, it makes you think it's got to be white hats, because if it was something they wanted to push on us, they would be all over it. They set up friggin' scenarios to try and manipulate us. And I don't think they're talking about this. I didn't see in the guy's footage, I didn't see any news vans. All I saw was, official looking cars. But they're all going into these people's basements and tearing out all the walls. He had 2 tunnels under his house. And then plus that whole weird downstairs with the locks on the wrong door and color. Like, man, how many of these people like had a whole like setups, like kind of like stores or something, like a orphanage for sale. Like, here, I've got one of all the colors. I've got one of all the ages. Which one do you want? You know what I mean? Like, how many of them? Like, why would you have those rooms like that? It just seems weird. So I don't know. I would think there would be more stuff coming out about that than truth. I hope that is what they use. I wish something would just hurry up and go. God, it is so hard not, especially if you have a really creative mind. It's so hard not to. Like I could think of so many scenarios. I could write books off of all the scenarios I could come up with on this stuff. Like I'm constantly coming up with different storylines and stuff like that. I'm sure that there is some really all sorts of writers who have got all sorts of scenarios going with everything happening. And, I think those books will be interesting once we get past all this. Those kinds of things will be interesting, especially for people who had no perspective, who wasn't seeing it. While some of us were awake, we are having a totally different perspective than the people who are in the game still and aren't seeing anything. So it is, I would think, I don't even know what to think, but I do think, I've got to really keep my mind going on the positive and keep reminding myself, because like I said, that there's some of these beings around or something. Some I feel like are under, like attacking our thoughts to kind of keep them more dark or something. Like I can't even tell you when it gets crowded like this around here, I start getting way more of intrusive thoughts and negative and stuff. And sometimes they'll be going and playing and you won't even notice it for a second. You'll start feeling weird. And then it's like, wait a minute, what? Shut the fuck up. Get out of here. No, I'm not. And they're constantly just trying to, bring you down. And those could be the ones maybe they've been feeding off of. Maybe these are the ones that like live off the luge and they're about to lose their source. And so they're doing everything they can to stress us out so they can get their last meal. I don't know. I'll be so curious when we start actually getting to find out more about the truth of this reality. I swear to God, I can't wait. But boy, it sure is curious. Now, we got this planet flying towards us that looks purple in the sky. These kids saying that we're going to have a purple planet, but it's a rainbow. And that all these beings around that are purple with big eyes. So, I don't know. I just thought that's weird. This purple looking planet's up there. So, is it going to bust through and it really looks like a rainbow? And then we're all going to be flown up there with all these people who are here to take us up and go on to the rainbow planet as it passes by and we go into some other reality. I don't know. There's no telling what is to come, I swear. And, I'm telling you, I can just keep going and going and going and coming up with stuff. So, and I don't want to create some of this stuff. So I've got to stay focused on hope and just, oh, and this was a good thing too. My brother got notified from the oncologist he's 100% cancer free. But so then I talked to him this morning when I was taking a bath, I was, he had texted me. He had gotten up and seen the baby pictures. And so then he said that he was still nervous because there's something that he is worried about. And then plus all these people just dropping dead. And so he's like, I mean, that could happen, so he still is nervous, like, because it is once you get faced with, death, it changes. Like when you get out, like for me, getting out of the hospital and then realizing I could have died. And there's so many times where I still feel like I did die. I was even thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking, I think I really did die. I think Kelly really died. I was a different Kelly before the brain injury, before the healing. It was a different Kelly. And then after, it was a totally, a new rebirthed one. What did the other one? I mean, there's, I don't know, there's just something with the symbolism and stuff there to me where I started being like, yeah, that is so crazy. Because really, that Kelly that went in the hospital never came out of the hospital. So everything changed, so much for me. But when you do get faced with, death, then it does make you think, but I told him, well, the gift there is like, now what's important. Like you're spending time on important stuff because these people who are just dropping dead, their families being held, just this emptiness. But when you have a sickness, you have time to really spend with family and clean up, relationships and stuff like that. There's more closure. So there's always been a gift to drawn out death. There's a whole purpose to that. It's not a punishment to the person. There's a whole purpose because when somebody just drops dead instantly, there's a huge loss, no preparation, not expected. And that is happening, all over the place. Everybody's being faced with so much stuff, and I don't know with some of the people how they keep, I don't even know. Like when I think about my neighbors and stuff and just how everybody just around here just participates in the system, like that's all there is. Like they're all just happy to have a job, happy to, it just is like it's so different of a way that they perceive. And then, but I don't know. Are they kind of waking up to other things? Like what I started seeing with my kids when they started waking up to other things, just because they weren't waking up to the things I found the most scary, like mass murder. But they were waking up, and as I have to let go of so much stuff. Like, I'm not the all knowing. I'm not everybody's higher self. I'm not the God of all. I'm in charge of this one right here. This is the one I'm in charge of. This is the one I'm supposed to keep. And that's enough to keep up with, just to keep my own mastery. Yesterday, I kicked my own ass. I was so mad at myself. I couldn't even believe it. It was the most stupid thing. And I had cooked some potatoes and eggs for breakfast. Well, for my meal. Usually I just make a meal, like a midday meal. And then, I'll eat some snacks or something in the morning, like the biscotti and stuff. But I'll just make like one midday meal. So yesterday it was like there's the eggs and stuff in this pan. I used it all got stuck. It's a stainless steel pan, and they don't have Teflon, so everything sticks so much. But they're easy to clean. So anyways, there was all that stuff, so I poured water in it. And then I went in and I started doing the dishes later, and I took that pan and I just dumped it. And right when I did, I was like, slow down. And then I was like, oh man, that would have been so good. Poured on her food, God. And then I was just like, oh my God, why did you do that? Why did you just go dump that out so fast? And then I always, what the message is to me is slow down. You got to slow down. You got to just take more thought and be more mindful. Don't be hard on yourself now, like you wasted, this wonderful flavor that could have gone on our food. Instead, just be mindful for the next time. And this had happened another time. There was something I had like that, and I was soaking, and then I dumped it out, and I was like, oh my gosh. So, I don't know how many times it takes me to catch on to something. don't know. But oh my gosh, I was just so irritated with myself. And then this morning I saw another girl, and I think this might have been the one who was just having this great epiphany, that we're receiving information, we're not creating thoughts. So she's going through this whole long thing and explaining about that. And then she said, the same thing that I was just talking about, whatever it was I just said. She said it in this thing that she was saying. I don't know, how do I get so lost? I swear to God. What was it? What was it that I was about to say? She said, let me think. So she was saying about conscious, I don't know, whatever it was, whatever I was saying, it was something that I had been saying a while. And then she said that too. And whatever it was she was saying, whatever I was talking about, I don't know. I swear to God, I am just lost. But some of this stuff, to me, it just doesn't matter. So I can't get myself all hard on myself or upset with myself. It's not worth giving yourself the energy like that, you know? You got to let go of stuff. That is what I have found through this healing, is the holding on is what creates sickness and bitter and all of that stuff. You got to let go of stuff and process it. And and that is, it's hard. And people just don't know how. Even when I talk to my daughter who has all this mental health stuff, and I'll tell her, you got to go deeper and stuff. But when you're just on your own, it's really hard to, like, how do you go deeper? Where do you go? But you got to just keep asking yourself questions. And as you're asking the questions, they'll start showing you. Because it really is a communication tool for you to help to understand yourself and what you're doing here in this experience. But you have to connect in order to get it is kind of like that map kind of thing. I'm thinking about those shows, Angels and Demons or something. I don't know, the ones with stupid Tom going and I don't know, like it's his Raiders of the Lost Ark or something. But something that they showed in there, again, now I'm lost. I don't know what I'm talking about again. Oh my God. Maybe I have talked myself out. But one thing is like, I wasn't telling everybody like, oh, come over there. Like no, I just thought if I was live, that people who were over here might want to just hear me live. But I'm not saying everybody, you got to come over there. You got to do this. You got to support me. You got to do that. I don't even tell people to follow me and like my thing. And, to me, it happens, it either happens naturally or it doesn't. I don't feel like I need to tell anybody or force anybody, but I did want to share that I was doing the live because I thought there's people who do like to hear what I said, but I don't think for how much I talk on here, I talk so endlessly about this stuff on here. I've gone so deep on here, especially, for Vortex, who started all the way. That's the one name I can remember. And it's because I think it's because it's not a name. And but all these different names, like the same whenever there was Amy and Amber, I get all of the names mixed up. Like I can't keep them straight. So even if I start saying, oh, like whoever guessed at the name that I'm saying, that is what it would be. You can hear when I'm talking. I say the wrong words sometimes. And it's so weird is that when I'll listen back sometimes and I'll hear myself say the wrong word, I think I'm saying the right word. That is what's so trippy. Because I had heard that one the other day when I was downloading my one. And I did notice it went way faster this morning. So I thought maybe it is when it goes super slow. It's because a lot of people are downloading at the same time. I don't know. But I swear to God, I just lost what I was talking about again. Man, I don't know what the hell I was talking about. Well, anyways, I don't think I'm, especially like anybody who's been listening to me for a long time. Like I wasn't even talking about all the stuff that I was talking about before. Because I think on this journey from the time I started my this channel is, you know, it has been a lot of discovery. It was where, you know, I started really seeing that this is about an awakening. This is about people who have no awareness. This is people just, like I started noticing in it and seeing it. And so that to me has been, you know, part of this whole thing with doing this channel. And when I think about from the beginning, when I started realizing what was going on, because that has all been playing out too. Like there's certain things that I realized throughout the talking that I didn't realize in the beginning, you know, and there is so much more that just keeps opening and opening and opening, you know. It just is, you know, very, very expansive, all of the stuff as it, you know, the spiritual stuff to me is just so much more expansive. And so I don't know, I still feel too out of it. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Actually, I've already been talking 45 minutes anyways. I already talked earlier. I bet, you know, 3 hours the other, and I could have kept talking. Like I would have gotten some water and stuff, but I was like, man, I swear that was something that I did learn about myself, because I did wonder, like, well, how long would I be able to talk without starting to be like, you know, what do I talk about now? What do I talk about now? And I just kept going and going and going. Like one thing just leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And I think I was in a pretty good flow of explaining things. And I mean, obviously, I would had some people mesmerized. I was really, really surprised, because I kept thinking, you know, if I went live, oh, maybe, you know, I'd have like 10 people in there. I was really surprised when the lady told me that there was 1,000. And I've had people come in and tell me that how much they enjoyed it. And I've even had some guys come in and tell me like how like you say well spoken, not articulate, but well spoken. So I've had good feedback, that's for sure. But I still, you know, it's way too hard to do by yourself. And I don't even think it's entertaining, like to just sit and watch people get up there and try and see the comments. They're just, because they totally come right up to the thing and they look and they're reading, and then they'll sit back and then they'll answer the question, and then we'll do it again and again. And it's like, you know, some of the questions, you know, I've gone into them before and asked questions, and there's too many people. So I don't know. I just think I'd rather go in and listen to somebody talking about something than just sit and answer questions. But I was thinking a smart thing would be, like, if I did that as a regular thing, is have people send in the questions. Like, send me a DM with your question, and then I'll go live and I'll answer all these questions. And so, you know, maybe I'll do something like that, you know, if people start asking me. You know, I'll just have to see. I just know that those of us who are out there trying to help people and are here as healers, like to help people learn how to heal themselves and stuff, you know, that is going to be what becomes a lot more important to people than what the Kardashians are doing. People are going to want to talk to, because it's going to be a lot of pain when people have all this stuff start coming up to the surface. They're going to want to know, like, you know, what am I supposed to do with all this? I've got all this pain and suffering that is trying to purge out of me. What am I supposed to do? And so, you know, everything is about the healing, to lighten the load, to be prepared for our next journey. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's going to start this week. Maybe we're all going to get sucked on up out of here and go up into a new rainbow ball. So we'll see. So anyways, I will talk to you later. I've been talking a long time. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.